This often comes up. If God is a good God, why does evil exist?
Okay, yeah, it used to be the problem of evil. It used to be worded as, well, if God is all good, He wouldn't want evil to exist. If God is all powerful, He's capable of preventing evil from existing, but evil exists, therefore no all good, all powerful God exists. Well, the problem with that is there's a hidden premise. And this is widely recognized, by the way, by the world's leading atheist philosophers, as well as the world's leading Christian philosophers. And Alvin Plantinga pointed this out in one of his works. But the hidden premise is that there's no way for God to allow evil and human suffering for purposes of a greater good. And so, and the only way you could know that would be if you were infinite in knowledge. You'd have to be God to know that. So as long as it's possible that there's some greater good purpose for God to allow evil and human suffering, then an all-good, all-powerful God would have reason to allow evil to come into existence and be in the world. Now, another way of looking at it would be the problem with the origin of evil. Premise number one, God created everything that exists. Premise number two, evil is something that exists. Conclusion, therefore God created evil. Well, there are some Christians, real extreme Calvinists, and most Calvinists wouldn't accept that, but real extreme Calvinists like Gordon Clark would say, yeah, God created evil. But most would say, no, God didn't create evil. It's due to the sin of man, the fall of man, and the fall of angels. And so we basically would say, look, God created everything that exists in itself. Evil is not something that exists in itself. It exists in something that was created good as a perversion of that good thing. Therefore, God did not create evil. So in other words, God didn't create evil. He created the possibility of evil. Now, people might say, well, even the possibility of evil is evil. No, free will entails the possibility of evil. People don't march around with signs, down with freedom. Freedom is a good thing, but it gives created creatures, gives creatures the freedom to actualize the possibility of evil by freely choosing to rebel against God. So God created a perfect universe, but part of that perfect universe is human and angelic free will. It's the freedom to twist or pervert God's creation. So basically, evil is not part of the creation. It's the perversion and corruption of God's perfect creation. Another way of looking at evil is the lack of a good that should be there. It's a privation. A rock lacks sight, but it was never intended to see. When a human lacks sight, that's a product of evil. It doesn't mean that that blind person did something evil that made them blind, but it means if Adam and Eve didn't sin, and nobody sinned from then on, all human beings would see. And so God created eyes to see, but it's a cursed creation. It's a perverted creation, a corrupted creation, so sometimes humans are blind.